Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we've got something a little bit offbeat for you, and it could well get me cancelled along certain quarters, so please bear with me whilst I, do everything I can to try and end my channel, keep trying to do that these days, don't I? So bear with me, hear me out. I do have a valid point, I swear to you, okay? So as a content creator, a YouTuber, or just an awareness bringer, whatever it is that you want to call me, I have many flaws, and admittedly, I don't always get it right. However, whatever I have done and mistakes I've made, there's one thing that has remained constant with me. My intentions have always remained the best. So I've always had the best of intentions. Everything that I've done, talked about, everybody that I've talked about, everything I've tried to bring awareness to, it's always with the best of intentions. That's my point, right? I do realise I have not always come across this way to everybody. So there's some people that have, rightly or wrongly, had a go at me in the past for my methods. So yes, I do have my flaws, and I am in no way perfect. And no, I'm not giving a big sermon about where and what direction this channel's heading in, because I know that I've been doing that so much recently, and I don't want to go through that again. I simply just want to admit to my faults before I go in hard on somebody. Okay, so just so you know that I am very well aware that I'm not perfect. So when I try and talk about certain things, you might think, hang about, Dougal, you've done that, you've done this. So I know where I've been wrong and what I've done wrong and everything, right? So we're talking about the Dad Challenge podcast today. Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast. I'm just going to say that I know there are a few similarities between myself and him, so that's not a good start, is it? But I am very well aware of that. He rose to fame, if you can call it fame, moderate fame, by doing continuous videos on Stauffer. I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong, don't know. And I made my name by talking about the Inghams. So we basically had our own paths, and we were similar in that respect. He also makes fun of people. He says that that's his way of getting awareness, raising awareness. He doesn't care about what he says or what he does or what he makes fun of. His ultimate goal is to get the person off the internet and to stop them exploiting their kids, which I kind of get. I do get, but don't so don't come at me. I know what he reckons he's doing. His intentions, though, have somewhat come under question. I'm not going to go into that right now because I don't know his intentions. Some people suggest that he's not pure in his intentions about getting family vloggers off the internet, because some people think that he just basically stumbled across this thing and it got him lots of views, so he carried on doing it. So I don't know.
Feed her.
But I have also been known to take the piss out of Chris and Sarah as well. So, again, I'm not completely innocent of that sort of thing. Again, there's a similarity there a little bit, right? And that's why I said my intentions are of the best intentions. Even though I do take the piss out of Chris and Sarah, it's just, I try not to. But one thing that I don't do, and that is I do not take the piss out of their looks, the way they look. I don't bother, because it's not relevant to anything, and it's just, I don't know, it really is not relevant. It's not the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm talking about anybody, about the actions that they're doing or anything like that. My first reaction is not to go and say, oh look, Sarah's got sausage fingers, it's not. But this sort of thing he does all the time. I think he's got something going on about Alicia Doherty's fingers or hands or and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's just not the first thing that I personally think of when I'm talking about somebody. Okay, Josh, on the other hand,
that's not funny. Your feet are... Better be $55 chocolates. Those chocolates better do your laundry, give you a BJ or something. But the one main thing you should get, your dad in your life, is a BJ and a nap. Red bathing suits got history too. I gotta find out about her. Oh, they have the what's it called? Gap. Oh, she's the one with the curtain. She's wearing the curtain. That's Curtain Girl. Is their hair real? I feel like is it real? Is there extensions? Is there? There's no babes here. There's a bunch of moms. No babes. Oh my God, this woman's hands are humongous. What is that a sign of? Her hands are huge. They're like tennis rackets. Whoa, whoa. But like, if you can't even walk without showing your vag, get a longer dress. Can we be real? Okay.
My first blowout, I'm so excited.
The first one's always the best. It's the fastest one, but you'll never forget it. Remember when I talked about the white girl dancing thing? This is it. They're like fake doing it, but like, look at me, and then like, laugh.
To dry bar right now, to get a blowout.
Blowouts, everybody. I know what blowouts are. Do you know what they are? It's not what you thought they were. It's not like a female BJ. It sucks to be a woman, especially a vlogger who has to put 18 pounds of makeup on in Vegas in the summer. No thanks. That's a lot of boob sweat happening. Do you have to, is there like things you can put under the boobs that like just soak like, you can have a sweatband. Can you get like a boob sweatband? And if not, copyright TM, I'm inventing it. Chill. All these people do is touch their belly on camera, and it's gross. Fake hair and eyelashes and fake everything. Boom. Feed her. I know lots of Christians who are raised as even homeschool kids and raised in Christian homes and went to Christian school. I don't know anybody who's racist. I mean, I grew up in the church, sort of. I'm not racist. I mean, I'm like literally, I'm as black as Meghan Markle. I just did another DNA test, and I am 13% African. Isn't that cool? Anyway, it was dumb because we got lost in downtown Detroit. Don't ever get lost as white people downtown Detroit, okay? White boys.
as anyone, really.
As anyone, don't. And these guys pull up in this giant Tahoe or this big giant black, I don't know what it was, Escalade or something, roll down their window and look at us, and they say, what are you listening to? We roll up our window, and the highway was right at the next exit. We hopped on the highway and took off. We were like, I don't even know. And I don't even know. That was scary because we don't know anything because we're from Canada, man. We don't have that kind of... Feed her.
Recently, Josh did a video whereby he proclaimed it was the worst thing he'd ever seen. However, it was all fake. He basically came across this video. It was supposed to be like, this is what the dangers of social media is. This is what can happen to your kids when they talk to people online, and this is what happens. And Josh was talking about it as if it was like real, and this is actually something that happened. He said it was the most horrific thing he's ever seen. But I don't know if he's aware that that video was fake. It was just acting. It was actors. It was a social experiment. If anybody's seen any of these social experiments, are generally awful. They're acting and they're awful. nobody does them anymore because nobody watches them anymore. This video is from 7 years ago. The thing is that he doesn't explain this to his audience who's watching, hanging off his every word, and this is why I try to be as transparent with my videos as I can, so because I don't like people thinking that I'm not forthcoming with real facts. So this, I think, him presenting this as something which was real was wrong. He should have just said this was like a skit or an experiment, but it wasn't real, that sort of thing. That's what I would have done anyway.
Oh, she's coming, yeah? Michaela? From Facebook.
So she approached this guy.
Remember?
Michaela, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Sorry.
Okay. Now that should scare you. What the dad did there was out of fear. And I'm going to take a little step back and say that's probably an inappropriate response. Like, it's appropriate, but inappropriate. Does that make sense? If that happened to me, I'd absolutely be very, very, very upset with my daughter. Okay? But I wouldn't scream at her in public like that. This is a moment, a teachable moment. And this more is for parents than the kids. This is a teachable moment here. Michaela, what just happened here could have killed you. You could have been kidnapped by this person. You could have been killed. You could have been something. You could have literally, this could have ruined your entire life and or killed you.
Going to drop me off. Alright, so she just said, I think my dad fell asleep, you can come now. One with the light right here?
Yes.
This is crazy. This should scare the poop out of you.
Come outside, come to the front door. Hey, Daddy, sit chill.
His dad is...
Get over here. Get over here. What's wrong with you?
Oh my gosh, maybe this was the younger one.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
How can you do this? You're 12 years old. This guy's 20 years old. You could have been raped and murdered. We already lost your mother. What would I do if anything happened to you? What would I do if anything happened to you? I love you. Don't you ever do this again.
And unfortunately for her, like, this is a hard lesson that she'll probably, unfortunately and fortunately, she'll never do this again.
Feed her.
And I'm sure that you've all heard, hopefully, about the situation that he explained in a video a little while ago when he told a story time about what happened at his old church. There was a boy who had been SA'd and he did nothing. He was told about the situation and he didn't follow up to check that the situation had been reported to the proper authorities. He just ignored the situation.
There are so many secrets inside churches around the US and Canada you'll never know about, because they'll keep it secret until they can no longer keep it secret. They will. In the church that I just served at, I think about 3 or 4 months before I was fired, could have been a little bit longer than that, there was a youth leader in our church, an adult youth leader, male, okay? Nobody at that church to this day probably knows this, but he SA'd a student, okay? Was asked to step down. We sat down at a leadership meeting, okay? Where the lead pastor, no, the executive pastor, the guy who was supposed to sell the shit, because then the lead pastor can have, plausible deniability, okay? Where he said, look, this went down in this leadership meeting, told all the staff that this had happened. And if anybody from the media comes and talks to you, you don't say a word. We were threatened. You dare say a word. You ignore it, you send them to me. I'm probably going to do a whistleblow on that. I want to get to the bottom of it, because that was all we ever heard of that, even as a staff. That this, and I'm sure it's happened multiple times at this church, and it has in the past. Okay, but what?
Feed her.
If you don't know what happened with the Micah Stauffer situation, here's a quick summary. Micah and James Stauffer adopted a boy who had additional needs. They decided he was too much work and decided to give him back, kind of like an unwanted pair of socks, Josh from Dad Challenge podcast went in on them hard, obsessive like. It got very out of hand to the point where he encouraged his subs to go and stand outside their house to picket. Now, this is awful, and given no other evidence against Josh, this would be enough to make anyone think twice about supporting him. Fortunately though, he's hidden the video. Fortunately for me, I have a clip, so...
James has got 1 million subscribers, so now we have to take it to the next level. We are going to hire a private investigator, James and Micah. We're going to actually truly find out through private eyes, and if that doesn't work, we're actually going to start coming to picket where you are. Because as soon as COVID's over, I'm driving down to Ohio, and I'm going to stand outside your house with pickets, with a bunch of people who hate you, and we're going to picket outside your house.
What happened next? The Stauffers removed themselves from YouTube, and their adopted son was sent to another family. This wasn't enough for Josh though. He needed to know if the boy was safe, so he private messaged the new family. This was nothing to do with him, and he had no right to any information as a random person off the internet. However, he messaged them over and over and over again to the point where they actually had to block him.
And I want to say this too. The person who has H right now, I keep reaching out to her on Instagram because she's using him on her Instagram, and I'm like, please don't. And she keeps blocking me. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not going to tell you where to go, but I'm pissed because she keeps ignoring me. So trust me, this lady. You don't want the people who are for H to come after you to be doing stupid stuff.
This was a huge invasion of privacy to not only the child's new family, but to the child himself. You know, the child he said he was trying to make sure was safe. He was invading his privacy.
Feed her.
The Weiss Life are a multi-child family vlogging channel. The eldest child, Gabrielle, was 16 years old at the time. Common with a lot of family vloggers, her dad on the show isn't her real dad. Josh thought it would be a fabulous idea to invite Gabrielle's biological father onto his live stream. The problem here is that her bio dad was apparently into underage girls, but Josh just ignored that as it wouldn't have fit his narrative. He spent the best part of an hour allowing this man whom he knew nothing about to slag off Gabrielle's mother and delve into the child's private life. The live ended with Josh directing straight to Gabrielle and encouraged her to leave home, and even offered to buy her vlogging equipment so that she could do the very thing he is absolutely against.
Feed her.
Similar to the Gabrielle Weiss situation, Josh invited Mia Fizzy's biological father onto his show. At the time, Mia was living in Mexico, and Josh deemed she was taken out of the country illegally without Mia's dad's consent. Mia had just turned 16, and her dad was trying to get in touch. Josh once again tried to facilitate getting a child back with a parent whom he had zero knowledge of. Whatever the situation between a child and their bio parents, it's not for him or anyone else to interfere.
Feed her.
The Royalty family are a family vlogging channel whom are most definitely problematic. They pimp their boy Ferran out and exploit him to about 15 million people. Ferran has been kept from his biological father from a young age. The situation is highly complex and so complicated it's hard to know what's actually true. However, what we do know is Ferran's father wants to get back in touch with his son and is apparently unable to do so. The mother is not allowing it. He approached Josh to facilitate this. Josh has had him on his show many times and is getting, once again, far too involved in the relationship between a child and their father. It is not his place to do so.
Feed her.
Recently, Josh was at it again. In an absolute shit show of a video, he did an open letter to kidfluencers. Within this video, he addressed Neve Doherty. She is one of the many adopted children from the Doherty dozen. Josh told her that she could find a better family to go and stay with if she so wanted.
You have a lot of power, Nevaeh. You're 14 years old. You can make a lot of decisions for yourself. Now, I know that being in the system is probably not for you. And this might sound a little bit weird, but you and your brother are basically internet famous. So if you decided you wanted to get out of this house and find another loving home, I bet you one would open up like that.
Encouraging her to find a better family. Again, this is not his place to say. You cannot encourage a child to leave home.
Feed her.
Jenny Popash is a highly exploited teen girl on TikTok. I've covered her a couple of times before. It appears her mother is an awful person and an awful parent. However, in something I am still absolutely gobsmacked at, Josh addressed Jenny directly. He told Jenny that she should get emancipated from her parents. If you don't know what emancipated means, it means to divorce your parents.
So Jenny, I know this sounds really crazy and I might even get some heat from a lot of my haters for saying this exact phrase again. But you need to find a way out of that situation. And that likely comes from emancipation, which means you're going to have to find a lawyer or someone that you trust that can take care of that.
I am absolutely stunned that an adult, and not just an adult, but one with over 160,000 subs on YouTube, would suggest that any child fuck their parents off. I am stunned. If anybody thinks that this is okay, then I just have no words, honestly. This is... You know what makes this worse? This one and the Doherty one appeared in the same video. So he did two. So he's been working along all the kids off YouTube, encouraging them to leave home and things. And then even did two in one video. You know, it's just, he's got some sort of obsession with wanting them to leave home to find pastures new. I don't know, but it's not his place to do it. In this one, he showed that Jenny Popash was watching a clip of one of his vlogs on her TikTok, and this is the reason why he decided to bring all this up. He used that fact to show off that she was watching him. That is the only reason he did any of that video. And that's quite sad and wrong.
She's on my channel watching my video, and that's why today's video is going to be directed towards her.
So, I still find it hard to believe Josh has so many supporters, because this is just common sense stuff, right? You don't encourage kids to leave home. You just don't. You don't get involved in the family dynamic when there's a biological father, a real father, a stepfather, a mother, and you know, this whole family, right? You don't get involved in that. It's not your place to get involved. You just cannot. You cannot do it. Yes, child safety is important, but what he's trying to do here is he's trying to send a child who, yes, they're being exploited, obviously, and we know that, and that's not a good situation. But he's trying to send those children to the biological fathers, who you have absolutely no clue about their intentions. You have no clue about their background. You have no clue whether or not they're good people. They could be far, far worse than the family vlogging background you're trying to send them away from. So I think people need to think about whether or not you are following the right type of person. And this isn't me trying to get at somebody who obviously is doing better than me. It's just basically saying, look at who you are following and choose more wisely, because anybody that is behind this sort of morality, are you really behind the morality of family vlogging is bad? Because a lot of his fans seem to stick up for him, saying that he's bringing awareness about family vlogging, but what is he actually doing? He's not really doing any of that. He's making fun of people's decor in their house. I think I saw him do a reaction to a cleaning video or something like that. So it's not really the type of awareness that I'm used to. I don't know, it may just be me, but I think that we are all better than that, and we should all hold ourselves to higher standards than just taking the piss out of somebody. Anyway, I hope you've learned one or two things here, because I try to educate on this channel. That's another thing that I like to do. If you haven't subbed already, please do so. Please give this video a massive thumbs up as well. Until next time, please have a lovely day, have a lovely Christmas, take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon in another video. Take care and bye bye.